morning.
Hi James. James Cole, can you hear us? If you can't, we'll go with Andrew McKenna and you can go after after Andrew.
Hey, good morning.
Morning, James.
Good morning, Gregor. What's
Hi,
the
James.
team news? Everyone fully fit, raring to go?
Yep, following yesterday's session. Couldn't tell you this morning, we're all just packing up on getting things on the bus, getting our last PCR test. Now we're heading to Cape Town, but 40 players trained yesterday. So that's pretty incredible, thinking the games that we've played, that everybody's fit for this last final match.
And how are you feeling heading into this huge game?
Yeah, like you normally do as a coach, you're excited to see the players perform. Pretty much the job of coaches is done now. It's captain's run today, so the players will be leading as we go onto the field, and that's what we want to see them do tomorrow.
How big a task is this facing you guys, and how much of an achievement, how big an achievement would it be to pull it off and win a test series in South Africa for the first time in 24 years?
It would be a huge achievement. I think we're obviously just looking at 80 minutes tomorrow, but when you put it in context of the last 8 weeks and the challenges we've gone through, and South Africa, but obviously we're a long way from our families for a huge period of time, it would be a massive achievement. But the game's about the test series, and the game is about what happens on the field, and our players are focused this week. They've looked really sharp, and they know last week, especially in that second half, wasn't a performance that reflects who they are and what we're capable of doing.
In that sense, is there a feeling that there's a score to settle, that there's rights to wrongs after that second test?
Well, I think you're driven by your own standards and performance, and we know we slipped off in the second half. We just couldn't get a foothold back in the game after a really encouraging first 40 minutes. And knowing that if we played well and won that game, then we'd be celebrating a test series victory, where now we've got to do the hard work and do all we can to win tomorrow.
There's been a bit of criticism about the Lions' attack and how you guys have attacked in this series. 4 changes in the back line. What needs to change in this game for you?
Well, we've got to create more. That's for sure. I think if you create opportunities, whether that comes through errors in the defence that can get you line breaks and lead to tries, you've got more chance of winning the game. But you may create more just through pressure, through fatiguing the opposition, through getting penalties. And in these tight test matches, that could be enough to win the game. So we did that well in the first test, especially in the second half of the first test. We were building into that sort of performance at the first half of the second test, but we didn't do it for 80 minutes. So yeah, we know we have to control the game more by moving South Africa around, draining them of energy whenever we can. Yeah, so that would be an area for us to improve for sure.
And to do that, you need tempo, which means fewer stoppages. How important is that? And have you or the other coaches spoken to the officials about keeping the tempo up?
Yeah, we have made the point that we don't want unnecessary stoppages. So you keep the tempo and you keep the flow of the game up through your own accuracy, through your own decision making. But when the game stops, whether it's for a scrum, a line out, you want it restarted as quickly as possible. I think everybody does that's watching at home. So I'd like to think and hope that it'll be a shorter game this weekend than last weekend.
And finally, from me, you got Finn Russell on the bench. You got a man who can come on and change the game and up that tempo. He's ideally placed to do that, isn't he? It's been a tough tour for him.
It has, and it's a credit to him and our medics. He's available. He's got himself on the bench because we know he can ask different questions than any fly half in the world, and he's trained really well this week. Outstanding on Tuesday and again yesterday. So he's feeling much better around where he is with his Achilles, and just connecting with others in the team. So yeah, if he does get on, then look forward to seeing him play. But obviously we're looking at 15 to begin with, doing all we can to win this game.
Thank you.
Greg, can I just sort of ask you, obviously the last 6 months of your life have been devoted to this. How does it feel that we're now down to the final 80 minutes of a tour that might not have finished or at times even started? I mean, how are you feeling emotionally as we reach the end of this whole thing?
Emotionally, Dad, look, when you're a coach, it's a busy week for you. Any test week, you got selection, you got preparation, you got reviews of the week before, you got previews, and then sessions to help plan and coach. So your mind is and your activities are pretty full on. So today it's a bit more relaxed. The players take over, so we'll be taking a step back, looking forward to seeing them play, looking forward to seeing them connect with each other, interact, start to lead more, and get excited about their opportunity they have tomorrow.
You got into the South African red zone 11 times last Saturday, but came away with only 2 penalties. Are you telling yourself, therefore, it can't have been that bad, we just need to get better execution?
Yeah, I think there was a difference between the first half and second half. I think first half we got those opportunities. If we'd had that try that ended up being disallowed just before half time, I think that would have been a reflection of the pressure that we built up on the opposition, and obviously taking that opportunity. There was another one in the first half that if we kept hold of the ball, I think we got a penalty advantage, and then a couple of rucks later the ball was killed and we went back to the penalty originally. We know that you won't get a huge amount of opportunities in these test matches, so to do all you can to get 7 points would make a massive difference. But second half we just couldn't get the possession. We weren't acting enough for the possession, and South Africa dominated in a couple of areas, so that made it really tough for us to score those points.
And on that, South Africa have conceded only 12 tries since the start of 2019. That's a run of 15 games. I imagine if you weren't their opponents tomorrow, as a coach, you'd be hugely impressed with that number. But the most they've conceded in those 15 games is 2. Do you approach tomorrow saying, if we score 2 tries, we'll be all right, we'll be in with a chance? Or do you have the confidence to say that, no, we can blow them open?
Well, it's his test match and you're playing the world champions. I don't think we'd ever use a type of phrase of blowing them open. For me personally, and I hope that the team feel this as well, we've got the ability to score tries. We've got the ability to put the South African defence under pressure, which can open up opportunities later in game or can lead to 3 points, 6 points. And I believe that to win a test match against a quality opposition, you've got to get a 20-point or more scoreline to have more control in the outcome. So, yeah, we've got to do that through all aspects, whether it's a set piece, our defence getting us penalties and the ball back, but in particular our attack, creating and finishing off opportunities.
The starting backline tomorrow, minus Ali, started the game against Japan back in Edinburgh and combined for 3 of the 4 tries that were scored that day. Is this going back to a tried and trusted formula?
That's probably more a coincidence. I think the guys played really well that day in Japan, against Japan. Players have played really well on tour, and we know there's a couple of players in this backline, 2 or 3 that have waited for an opportunity to play in a test match, certainly to start in a test match, and they're getting it tomorrow. We've had a lot of competition for places right throughout our squad, and we feel this is the right 15, right 23 to win a game and win a test series tomorrow.
If Elliot Daly comes on, he'll have appeared in every game in the African part of this tour. What does that say about him?
Well, it's a credit to his ability, his endurance, let's say, of being able to back up games. I think he's worked really hard. Things like his kick chase, getting back for opposition kicks, has been outstanding. It shows his adaptability because he's run at 13, he's run at 15, he's covered games and training sessions on the wing. Yeah, so it's a credit to him that he's involved in all 3 test matches and is covering a number of positions tomorrow.
Just finally, Gregor, obviously the early games and the provincial matches, the Lions were running in tries for fun, but the warning with it was, well, South Africa are a bigger and better side than this. Going forward, do the Lions need more competitive opposition in those early tour games to get them ready for test matches?
Yes, I would say that would put you in a better position to be ready for test matches. We did have that game against South Africa A, which was very competitive, more open than the test matches. But yeah, I would feel in 4 years' time, 8 years' time, that the more of a test you have in the lead up to the tests, it's going to help you. It's going to be more relevant to what you're facing in the test series.
Thank you.
Hi, Gregor. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Liam Williams and Josh Adams are coming into the back three. What are you hoping from those two tomorrow?
To bring their individual strengths, they're outstanding rugby players. So I think a lot is focused on Josh around his finishing and Liam around his aerial strengths. But I've seen them as outstanding rugby players. Like they make good decisions in attack and defence. They connect really well with others in the back line. Really good people, and they've deserved their chance with how well they've played and trained on this tour.
Alun Jones will make his 12th consecutive Lions Test appearance tomorrow over 4 series, 12 years. Can you just sum up what that achievement?
Well, if it was just a standard come out and tour and play your way into a test series and get that 12th appearance, it's an amazing and unique achievement, especially in the professional environment. But then when you add in the fact he was injured in our first game and had to fight back and work really hard and come into a test match and play so well in that first test, it just shows you what a human being is, never mind rugby player. So yeah, we feel so proud to have him with us, and we want to see a win for him, but also a performance that he can look back on with a lot of fond memories when he's got the pipe and slippers in a few years' time.
Thank you very much.
Morning, Gregor. I believe going into the first test, you made the theme about the rumble in the jungle. Is there been a particular theme for this week?
No, I think the outside of a third test and how we have to improve, that's been the key focus. There's been a couple of rugby focuses that we've emphasised more this week, but nothing, no analogies this week.
And you were part of probably the most iconic Lions series in '97 here. How would this be a greater achievement given all the sacrifice you detailed earlier, the 8 weeks in the bubble and the time you've been apart from the family?
I think it would be some achievement if the players did win the test series. It's such a different tour to any other one you're ever likely to be on, and I don't think you can understand the challenges that our players have gone through until maybe a few months after. But it has been tough for them. But to see them come together, to see them still train as hard this week after being here 8 weeks, to not get the rewards of interacting with your families on tour, supporters, the noise that greets you when you go on the field, that's tough. But we'll leave the descriptions of the tour to you guys. Our focus is, and the players' focus is on that 80 minutes and getting that win.
Thank you.
Morning, Gregor. Do you believe you saw the best of South Africa in that second half of the second test, or is there another level to come from them, do you think?
But they've got better throughout the 3 games that they've played, if you include the A game. So I think they'll get better again. The 2 tests were mirror images of each other, weren't they? The first half was quite tight, and the second half in the first test we got a real foothold in the game, managed to get more possession and get ahead of South Africa. The second test they did that to us, and I thought they grew in confidence. But it starts again tomorrow at 6 o'clock our time, and each each match of rugby, each test match tells its own story, and it's about how you win those battles within the game, whether it's around the contact area, around the set piece, around the aerial game, which we know is going to feature one more time, and then how you connect with others. We're a new team again, and they're a new team. They've made a couple of changes, and it's how those new players come in and grab those opportunities.
How far short are you, do you think, of putting your best performance out to there? What's the best to come from the Lions?
Yeah, certainly a lot more to come. I think if we were to look at the first half last week and the second half of the first test, in terms of a test match rugby, that would be a very good performance. But I feel there's more in us than those halves of rugby. I think there's more we can do in each area of the game. And we're a team that, although we've got changes, players have trained together for a number of times, and I feel that we'll improve with another game under our belt. So it should be a better quality test match than what we saw last week.
Thanks, Gregor.
Thanks.
Hi, Gregor. Can I just ask you about your midfield and whether it's been, like, you would have ever envisaged having 3 different midfield partnerships over the 3 weekends, and whether you've gone for Bundy and Robbie because they have that familiarity and cohesion that maybe has been so hard to build over the course of this short tour?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think it obviously featured a lot in our selection discussions in the first and second test that Bundy, who'd been playing well, who obviously played well in the Japan game and the South Africa A game, has that connection with Robbie. Robbie hadn't played that much following his injury on tour, so we looked at what we felt how the game would go, what we wanted to do in our game, and that was the reason for the selections in the first and second tests. But now Bundy and Robbie get that chance to play together. And you can already tell their communication on and off the field. They've got a really good understanding. Bundy's been waiting for this opportunity. He brings his own strengths, but he connects really well with Robbie. So they'll enjoy the fact that they're getting this chance to play for the Lions together.
Follow on. There's been a lot made of Dan's passing stat last weekend, the 3 passes, and can you just explain why you think that number was so low? What was the kind of driving factor behind that, and would you envisage that he will, up that stat that this weekend, that you will be able to put together more outside him, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one thing was we obviously kicked a few times when we got into the opposition half, and that sometimes brought with reward, sometimes it didn't, but that was obviously a strategy. And in the first half, we felt that we were gaining momentum a lot playing off 9. And when you play more off 9, you're obviously 10's not going to touch the ball on too many occasions. But in terms of a half of rugby, we were pretty pleased with a lot of what gone on. We could have moved the ball more. We could have taken those opportunities when we got in the 22, just came alive a little bit more. But it was a half of rugby where Dan was at 10, where he made really good decisions and he was very accurate, especially with his kicking game. Now, Dan didn't play a huge amount in the second half, so I think if we're looking at a passing stat, he obviously didn't play 80 minutes, and in that second half we didn't get that much ball. But whether a 10 passes a lot or not, that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I think we want our 10s to take on this blitz defence too. So if people are rushing up on the outside, you can play around it, you can play between it, or you could take it on as a first receiver. And Dan did that a couple of times well. So yeah, there's more nuances and a bit more in behind those stats. But in terms of a first half of rugby that Dan was at 10, we felt we did enough to control that game and put more points on the board.
Thank you.
Gregor, what are you expecting from Ali Price, and what does it say about him for making the test team, on the grounds that for many people, maybe including me, he was third choice 9 before the tour started?
Yeah, it shows how well he's trained and played on tour, how he rose to the occasion in that first test. Thought he was excellent, accurate with his kicking and passing. So yeah, it's great. It's great for him. He should be really confident going into the game on how he's played, and that's what we want to see from him. We want to see him being accurate, getting that ball away quickly from the rucks, being very good with his kicking game, because that's really important, and that helped us to take control of the game in that first test. And also looking for opportunities. He's done that in especially those midweek games or those games outside the tour. And if there's ever opportunity, he'll be encouraged to take it. He's got the pace to go through those gaps.
Thanks, Gregor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Gregor.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.